Is this the best affordable brand in whiskey right now? Today we're doing a review of Green River Rye. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So today we're diving into one of the brands that's kind of making waves in that affordable and available category in whiskey right now, which is awesome to hear, and that's Green River Distilling. So Green River is in Owensboro, Kentucky. I believe they were recently purchased by Bardstown Bourbon Company though. And honestly, over the last couple of years, they've come out with some releases that people seem to love. So they've got their standard bourbon with rye in the mash bill, then they have their wheated bourbon, then they came out with a single barrel, and now they have a rye. So they've really filled out their core lineup. All of those are available in that like $35 to $40 category, which is great. The single barrel I think might be a little more expensive at like 60 bucks or something like that. I have tasted the wheated and the single barrel, and I enjoyed both thoroughly. So when the rye got announced and newly released, I knew I had to grab it immediately and do a review for you guys, because we all need to highlight this affordable, available kind of market more. And I'm just excited to dive in. So some stats here on this particular rye. It's a 95-5 rye, so that's 95% rye and 5% malted barley in the mash bill, which is very high rye, obviously. And then it's 95 proof. It's 4 to 6 years old, apparently, a bottling of kind of a mix of those ages. That's pretty good for rye, to be honest with you. Rye can present as more mature more quickly than bourbon often, so a 6-year-old rye can often be kind of the sweet spot. From the reviews I've seen of this already, it's gotten some great feedback, so let's dive in. I was able to get this for around $40. I think the MSRP is technically like $35, so I paid a little bit over that, but hey, I can't complain. Rye is usually a little bit more expensive anyway. But let's dive in to this new release. So on the nose, the thing it reminds me the most of is like hard apple cider. It's very apple forward. Yeah, there's sort of a brown sugar dusting on the apple. And then there's like a cherry pop to it and a cinnamon lingering kind of spice. And then it's a little bit, I don't know if it's mint or herbal, maybe menthol kind of touch with the rye coming through. But the most prominent thing here is that kind of apple cider note, which is nice. It's very fruity and inviting. Okay, very solid nose. I wouldn't say it's like super deep, but it's very pleasant. All right, let's dive in on the palate. Cheers. Very pleasant on the palate too. More of that brown sugar and even a touch of like barrel presence and oak. Not overwhelming, certainly not overwhelming, just kind of a touch of it layered in. Some brown sugar, like I said, and then really strong apple coming through on the palate here too. And then cherry and cinnamon. Leans more into that cherry and cinnamon, especially on the back end for me, which is really nice. But the biggest pop here, again, is that apple cider, very crisp on the palate. And then there's a little bit of a lingering spice as well, to be expected for a 95% rye. It's got kind of a tingling feeling on the mouth, kind of warm going down, but again, it's not going to blow out your palate or anything. It's kind of at a nice proof point. All right, let's go in for a second sip, see if we can dig into some more flavors. Cheers. Yeah, it's nice. I would say the palate has more depth to it than the nose gave off. The nose was more of that bright apple crisp nature, and the palate deepens that out again with this brown sugar, touch of oak, maybe even some dark chocolate mixed in there, and then it's also layers in those fruit notes. So more of like a stewed apple for me on the palate rather than just like a very crisp apple. It's like a hot apple cider instead of, a cold fresh apple cider. I'm getting nitpicky here, but that's kind of how it's coming across to me. And then it's got that cherry and that nice lingering cinnamon for me. Very enjoyable, very enjoyable. I'm just really happy that this is good for the price point for sure. All right, let's go in for the third sip and we'll really evaluate the finish and then the whole sip and the whole experience. Cheers. Okay, got a couple new flavors there. A little bit of like a rye grain, so just adding in a layer of depth there. And then a little bit of like that menthol herbalness to it came through. A little bit more of a tea, fresh quality. So the rye kind of presented itself more on that third sip, which is really nice. And then there still is that stewed apple, that cinnamon, and that cherry. So for me, it stays true to that core the whole time through, which is nice. But for $35 to $40 to be able to get to your third sip and still be uncovering new layers is really nice. You wouldn't expect that much from kind of a mid-shelf bourbon, very often at least. Okay, or rye. This is a rye. Let's remember, this is a great rye actually for $35 to $40. That'll be my wrap up here. It's great. This is really, really good. It's very pleasant. I would put this in the same category in my brain as the Bardstown Bourbon Company Origin Series. So you've got their high rye bourbon for around $40. You got their bottled and bond wheated, which I think is phenomenal, for around $50. And then they do have a rye, which is much more expensive than this one. And I put this right in that category of one of the better, affordable, available releases that I can remember over the last couple of years. Really pleasant, really good, definitely worth trying out. If you're not a huge rye fan, I do think it presents very much like a rye, so you might want to steer clear, but if you're kind of on the fence about rye, this is a great one to go out and try and see if you can get more into that profile. In my own journey, I've come to like ryes a lot more than I did at the beginning of my whiskey collecting and sipping journey, so this is a pleasant, really, really good addition, and it just goes to show you Green River knows what they're doing. They've added another very solid option to their core lineup. All right, everybody, that's gonna wrap it up here with Green River Rye. Let me know in the comments below, have you been able to get this one yet and taste it? If so, what did you think? And then also, what do you think about Green River as a whole? Do you enjoy their lineup? Do you think there are other brands that are better in terms of affordability and availability, or is Green River really one of the best? Until I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.